Hey everyone, today is the day we get new cards from Duel. But forgive me if my voice sounds off, I'm a bit sick at the moment, but anyway, let's get into it. New art... Oh, Gacha Volume 5 is here. Okay, not the one I was expecting. Abyss actors, eh? Ooh, widespread ruin. I've got to say, I was not expecting Abyss actors. I think considering it was, what, pendulum stuff? I was kind of expecting like DDD monsters. Oh, 2 new bonus cards in 4-player matches. Megamorph. Select one monster, it gains attack equal to its original attack. Wow, that's that could be just game ending. And Metamorph, a trap. When an opponent's effect would be applied to a monster you control, that monster gains immunity to all skills and plus 1000 attack and defense. Wow. Right, let's have a look at the new cards. And last time we went from the bottom to the top. This time I think we're just going to stay at the ultra rares and work our way down. So let's have a look. Abyss Actor Superstar. Master skill. At the start of the battle phase, if summoned with Pendulum Scale, add 2 random Abyss script to your hand. And the Abyss scripts are: select one monster, it gains Explosion times 1, which is when destroyed it inflicts 300 damage to the controller. Abyss script Opening, which is recover 200 life points. Abyss script Fire, which is give blades to one monster. And Abyss script Rise, which is set one monster, it loses 400 attack and defense. So now I guess like the key thing here is that you get this at the start of every battle phase. So though all of these cards are very individually weak, you get each of them every single battle phase. It also has immunity to destruction effects, dark power, so we're getting Yami terrain in this one. And what is its special skill? At the start of the battle phase, if summoned, so you get 1 rather than 2 with its special. Not like super amazed by this, but I'm thinking, because these Abyss scripts, like, even if you have 2 of them, like, the explosion one isn't going to matter. That's basically do 300 damage to your opponent if their monster dies. Recover 200 life points is like... It's basically just a standard skill. I think that's kind of basically what each of these are in power level, is just, kind of equal to... or around about equal to, or maybe slightly better than just like a standard common skill. So you can kind of think of this as like, hey, when you summon this, get 2 common skills, and every turn, get 2 more. Yeah, I'm still not sure about this one. I don't know how long, this would be alive for, unless you maybe summon this like in the center lane. So every turn you're getting like these cards. The other thing I can think you would maybe want to play this with is if these Abyss scripts are spell cards, then, this would fit very, very well into like a wizardry deck or a Dark Magician deck where you want to just kind of build your hand up with these, summon Dark Magician, and then just like, play lots of spell cards. Not terrible, I think. I think this might actually see a place in certain decks that are looking to, combo with wizardry and stuff like this. And I think even if you're just running like a pendulum deck, this is still a good card. Like, I think this is still a decent card to put in like a pendulum deck where you can just bring this out without tribute. Anyway, and this has wizardry, so that it might actually go good with this card. While in the field, all your monsters on Yami terrain gain wizardry times 2. When summoned, add Chaos Scepter Blast to your hand. Select one lane, transfer Explosion times 1 to all opponent monster in that lane. If a monster has 2 or more negative skills due to this effect, Collapse is also applied. So yeah, so this basically goes hand in hand with the last ultra rare, Abyss Actor, because you can give a monster Explosion, and then with Chaos Scepter Blast, you can basically, cause Collapse. So both of these work hand in hand. if they are spell cards as well, which I think they are, those 2 spells are gonna equal 1,200 attack and defense for all monsters as well. So yeah. So as you can see, Abyss Actor is, when combined by itself, I don't think it's like amazing, but when combined with other cards, especially with wizardry, this, you know, the fact that this generates 2 spell cards a turn becomes very, very powerful. And I can definitely see you just putting this like defense mode in the middle lane and then just using the spell cards to power up all of your wizardry monsters. Also makes Dark Magician Girl kind of better as well. But anyway, let's have a look at this. So Magician of Black Chaos itself doesn't have wizardry. So its special skill is all your monsters in Yami terrain get wizardry, but you don't get the Chaos Scepter. And it has Yami terrain as well. So let's look at, I think this is just a, oh, it's a ritual monster if you want this out. Level 8 ritual monster. Which is, it's both good and bad, right? Like, the problem with a ritual monster is I don't think you can get it out with the pendulum scales, and you can't get it out with like the double summon abilities. You have to sacrifice monsters that add up to level 8. Now the plus side is you can just like sacrifice a Blue Eyes for this, but otherwise it's a little harder to get out. So Abyss Actor Leading Lady, another pendulum, a red one, and it's, hey, when summoned, add 2 random Abyss scripts to your hand. So this basically just has the power of the ultra rare, but obviously not every turn. So again, pretty good for generating spell cards. I do think Abyss, these Abyss cards are going to go hand in hand with a like wizardry deck. I think we're going to be seeing like Yami wizardry decks come up. So when summoned, set 1 monster you control in Yami terrain, it gains stealth until the end of the turn. Again, very, very powerful. Given someone stealth on Yami terrain probably means that they are going to just get past an enemy monster and do a bunch of damage to the life points. I think this is a really, really good card. Stygian Street Patrol. When summoned, apply explosion to all opponent monsters on Yami terrain. I'm trying to think whether I'd have to see how many Yami terrain cards we have. I don't know whether you'd want to play this with Yami itself or with this, because it's like, how many monsters are you going to affect with this, right? Like, unless you put in the spell card that makes more terrain Yami, I don't think you're going to put in too many. Explosion's only going to do 300 when the monster gets destroyed. But again, it does work with like the Magician of Black Chaos, so yeah. But it's also decent, I think, if you just have Yami on this card. Ghost Bell on Haunted Mansion. When summoned, set 1 monster and apply negation to all of its common skills. And it's got 1800 defense. Also got Ignite and Dark Power. Could be good. Could be good. I'm just like wondering, like, because we already have the 1800 attack point monster that has Seal. This one is basically, you know, a Seal card as well, but you can choose any monster and you can sort of put this in defense mode. Yeah, I think this card will probably be a good card depending on, like, you know, how many monsters we see that we need to Seal. Currently, unless someone is playing like a Utopia deck, I don't think there's that many, or, you know, like maybe a Z Metal Tank deck. But yeah, I think this is still a good card. I think this is one that will probably see some play, depending on obviously on the meta at the time. Right, Meteor of Destruction. Sets 1 player with at least 4,000 life points and inflict 800 damage to them. You know, kind of like it. This is kind of like same power level as that Reconstructor card. Maybe even actually better, because I feel like, hey, if you're going to be doing life point damage to someone, like if you're playing a life point damage deck, you probably want to do your damage to the strongest player, right? Because you want to get them down below you in life points. And this card does that better than the Reconstructor Revolution card. So, yeah, not bad. Like, I think we can definitely see this in a life point, you know, like a effect damage deck. This is basically, hey, select 1 player, if they have 4,000 life points, still 20% of their life points as damage to them. Swords of Concealing Light. Set 1 opponent monster in attack position and change it to defense position. It gains fear until the end of the next turn. You know what? This is actually pretty good. Obviously it doesn't have as much like versatility as enemy controller, but it's just a straight up better stop attack. Stop attack, you know, changes a monster to defense position. This changes a monster to defense position for 2 turns. Not only that, but it gains fear, so it works well with Magician of Black Chaos if you get the Chaos Scepter with it, and works well with Red Dragon Archfiend. Spike Shield with Chain. When a monster you control is put into defense position by an opponent's monster effect, that monster gains defense equal to its attack. I wonder how much of this we're going to see. Probably not much at all, because the activation conditions are like very unique. When set position is entered, the opponent's monster is destroyed upon entering if the level is 4 or lower. Wow. I would have thought Widespread Ruin would have been 4 or higher. But that's a really weird card. I mean, I guess it's actually pretty good that it just outright destroys a card. Like, until this point, I think like the best set position one we've had is probably like Curse of Anubis, which puts it to defense mode, puts its defense to 0. Shadow Spell reduces its attack by 1,500. Other stuff just like immobilizes them. Obviously, this doesn't affect, a higher level monster, but just being able to 1-for-1 a low level monster is pretty alright. Right, and then we're on to the rares. 1,700 attack with Dark Power and Pendulum. There is a lot more cards with Pendulum Scales in this one, so that should be cool to see what we can, you can do with these kind of cards. This one has Dark Power as well, 2,000 defense. Oh, Infernities. I wonder if we're going to see any kind of like Infernity deck going soon. I mean, like the guy, I can't remember his name, but the character who uses Infernity in the anime is like a big character, so we might actually get to see them at some point. 1800 with Dark Power, you really can't complain about that. And it has Pierce, and it has extra attack as well. Edge, Imp, Sabers, another Dark Power, Reincarnation, Focus. I think mainly you'll be using this for Dark Power. Its stats are not amazing. Set to destroy one monster with 2 or more negative skills. Okay, so this is obviously why you would have the Bike Rider in and everything like that. I think this will go well in other decks as well, not just this one, like an Ignite deck or other stuff like that. So one monster, it gains Explosion ×2. Hey, Rich on the Future here. I've just gone over Nitro Unit and Tribute to the Doomed. And one thing I don't think I really thought about or mentioned when I was talking about these two cards is Tribute to the Doomed is one of the only spells I think we have that just straight up destroys a monster. So apart from Blue Eyes' Master Skill, Tribute to the Doomed is actually one of the only ways we have. Like, if someone puts a monster in the middle lane, apart from Blue Eyes' skill, it's really, really difficult to defeat that. And when I say the middle lane, I mean, like, your opponent to the right puts a Stardust in the middle lane and starts sending down monsters with Reincarnation at you. And it's like, how do you deal with that? Unless you have a Blue Eyes, how do you destroy that Stardust? I guess, there are other cards like, okay, you can force it into attack mode. But this is actually Tribute to the Doomed is now one of, I think, the only cards that can actually just outright go, oh, no, I'm going to destroy you. I'm going to destroy your Leviathan Dragon. I'm going to destroy your Stardust. I'm going to put a stop to that strategy. So, and Nitro Unit, which gives a monster 2 explosions, is an enabler for that card. So this is kind of like a 2 spell card combo that just instantly destroys anything. Is it good enough to put in? I'm not quite sure currently, but I do think it is very powerful. There are definitely going to be situations where having in these 2 cards can be very, very, very powerful. Especially, not just like using it on a Stardust, you can also use it offensively as well, like a Blue Eyes ability. When you're going to attack someone, you can basically get rid of their defender with these 2 cards, or just Tribute to the Doomed if you have other cards in your deck that can give negative status effects. So yeah, there is a bit of like a wall behind activating Tribute to the Doomed, but I think the payoff is really, really, really good, and it's definitely going to make me want to experiment with it to see if I can, make it work in the deck. Anyway, back to the video. And here's the Yami terrain. Pendulum Reborn. When a monster you control is destroyed, select one Pendulum monster with the highest level from your graveyard and special summon it in defense position in the monster zone of that lane. That's pretty good. That is pretty good. It does not negate its skills either, so this is a big reason, this is like a good way of bringing back your Abyss Actor as well, or even just bringing back, oh no, wait, a bit, they won't get the ability because they have to be pendulum summoned, right? If summoned with pendulum scale, yeah. They won't get the ability because they have to be pendulum summoned, but it's still a 2500, and even if you get back Odd Eyes as well, that's still like a 2500. So it's still a very, very good card. Blast Infuse. At the start of the battle phase, all opponent monsters in the lane ahead gain 1 explosion. At the end of the battle phase, destroy 1 monster you control with the lowest attack. Then randomly select up to 3 cards from your graveyard and return them to your hand. Ooh, that is interesting. It's the lowest attack as well, so you're probably going to be getting rid of one of your like weakest monsters, right? You're probably going to be getting rid of a monster that has like just battled. It's got like 400 attack point left. It's basically useless anyway. So this is basically a card where you get +2 if used in the right way. Even if you just use it on a monster that hasn't battled, it's still a +1. So wow, yeah, it's pretty good. And that is all the cards. So I'm going to really quickly go to do the challenge mode and just like confirm what I was thinking about the Abyss Actor, and we'll see if it does generate spell cards and it is exactly what I think it is. So yeah, as you can see, it creates cards and you can use them on the same turn it creates them. Yep, so I think we're definitely gonna... I think it's gonna be really interesting to try a, Pendulum Abyss Actor Wizardry deck. And trying to see, like, what kind of thing... What you can make up with this. Right, so yeah, after playing the Challenge Duel and seeing how they work, I think these cards are actually pretty alright. Definitely a lot better than what we saw in the last release of cards, and definitely looking forward now to making a kind of like Abyss Actor Wizardry deck. I think these also add more Pendulum monsters to make Pendulum better. We get another Ritual monster, which is cool. Be nice to see some Ritual support like in the future at some point as well. And yeah, I'm actually pretty excited to try these out and get going. But anyway, I have a bunch of gems saved up and 2 super rare tickets. So let's use both of these and let's see what we get, and open some more of the packs as well. All right, Swords, Gagaga Magician, sure, already had both of you. I was saving those because I was hoping, I might get a chance at some of the new ones, but obviously not. Anyway, let's open some packs and see what we get. Oh, okay. Super rare spell. And ultra rare. I would be happy with either of the ultra rares. A Stardust. You know what? I did actually need a 3rd copy of Stardust Dragon. So I'm not unhappy with that. But I would like the new cards. Oh wow, another ultra rare. Oh, Swords of Concealing Light. I think that was one of the better ones. Flame Wingman and Firewall Dragon. I already have a Firewall Dragon. Nice to see Swords of Concealing Light. That was a pretty good one. 2 ultra rares. And a bunch of super rares. I mean, that's probably been like one of the best just 10-pack pulls I've done. Yeah, I was going to say that this one wasn't going to be good. Let's see that one. Right, come on. One of the new ultra rares. Good job, Weevil. Come on, either of the... I want both of the new ultra rares. Bloom Diva. God, I really, really wish they would actually make the chance of you getting these ultra rares higher in the ultra rare pack, in this new pack. Oh, super rare trap. Not one of the new ones, unfortunately. One thing I have noticed with this pack and the last pack is the fact that we have so many, like, more cards. The fact that they include all of the old cards in them as well definitely make it harder to get the new stuff. Yeah, unfortunately, nothing in this one. But yeah, so overall, pretty good. We'll have to see. I'll have to see, if I feel like I would want to have any of these cards as my ace cards. I mean, the anti-immunity, I feel like Abyss Actor would be pretty alright as an ace. You get him out early, he starts generating new spell cards. He has, so, because he's Pendulum, right? You get him out turn 2, hopefully. He starts generating new spell cards. He has immunity to destruction. And you can give the lane that he's on dark power as well. So, yeah, I think Abyss Actor would be pretty good as an ace. I think Magician of Black Chaos would be, like, just fine as, like, a special and not as an ace. But, yeah. Anyway, those have been the new cards. We should also have a new event and new raid happening today. So hopefully those will also be very good, and I will try and get up the raid guide as quickly as I can. Thanks very much for watching. Sorry again if my voice sounded off. I am sick at the moment. But again, thanks very much for watching. Subscribe to the channel for more cross-sell content, and I will see you on the ladder.